And that's purely because I have no idea. I'm a student in that world. But today's youth in India, I don't know how it is across the world, I haven't taken the sample across, but the things they say is, the reason I've gone back to making history is a lot of Indian youth today wants to go back to a sense of belonging. It's an insight I never had. Right? If you told me at night when I was doing mechanical engineering at the age of 19 that I would love to do yoga, I would have been like, absolutely not. Yoga is meant for 6 years, it's meant for a month. But today, their search for spirituality, belonging, purpose is at an all-time high, right? They always, I had a conversation with my daughter where she was getting some bullying issues in school, and I can fight from that. And I found that deeply intriguing because if I was 12, I would have asked my mother to come to school, right? I would have taken that back then. But I feel the under 25 community, what it's done for us is, look, India is the largest youth community in the world. The youth community in India is probably the size of continent, right? That's how big it is. You'd be very stupid in your business modeling if you don't want to pay attention to what that cohort is saying, because it's singularly the largest cohort, right? It is the youngest population in the world. It is by far every brand in India, every advertiser in India wants to solve for 18 to 30. Every advertiser. You go to a brief, whether you're a startup, unless you're making, even if you're building kneecaps and pain relief sprays, you want to talk to the 18 to 30 year old, right? And I genuinely believe that that's a cohort, because it's so wide and deep in India, no one has been able to sort of put that under a ring fence. I don't think we are able to either. It's so vast. But I think the idea of 125 is go and listen to the youth of the country, because that's what's shaping. Today's 18-year-old is tomorrow's voter, today's 18-year-old is a ticket buyer, today's 18-year-old is someone. Well, I can also share a time that has caused us a living nightmare. So it's interesting, my CEO of my tech company is right here. We were doing a scene in Mahabharat where we were recording somewhere in Mumbai. There was some traffic in the background. So whenever we were generating the scene, we kept having cars coming in. And this is an epic which never really had at a time. There was nothing like automobile. So then we had to understand what the real problem was, and then we got to the root of it, and it took us 3 days to solve it. But what's really helped us solve, and you'll see it sometime soon when we break even Hanuman, is I think creativity has helped us solve for scale, right? The ability to show a pattern, the ability to show a lot of money flying or leaping, right? Or the ability to show a 10,000 man wide battle coming to life. I think engineering has gone, and I think I'm blessed with a great engineering team that's done a great job at envisioning and putting all of these things together. I think what's
process, I'm assuming that some things have remained human. So can you talk about a little bit around what has remained human?
Well, everything has been human. I want to be clear about that. It's like watching an animation. It's like watching Moana, or it's like watching Frozen, or The Lion King. The writing is human, the music is human, the screenplay is human. In fact, it's added more human layers because there's much more engineering involved, there's much more research involved. Because unlike animation, which has set pretext of operating for the last 30, 40 years, everything that's happening in AI is happening for the first time, right? So you need a lot more research, your R&D becomes a lot stronger, the employability of technologists become a lot more. So I think it's a big, broad-based myth that, we are creating all of this, going on to ChatGPT and putting in a prompt, and voila, scene comes to life. So some purist cinematographer is getting upset, that one command has changed it. All it's far from the truth. It's a 24/7 working team. It's a team of around 50, 60 engineers. So to all the critics out there, it's like, how would you make an animation film? That's exactly how we would make an AI film. And I feel for us, that really is a big myth that I'm trying to break at a global dialogue kind of level, right? So let's be very clear. I think defining characters became a lot easier. I think the ability of putting projects on the ground, I said time. Typically, if you have to put together a project, it will take you about a year and a half to 2 to make it come to life. We made Mahabharat in 3 months. Something like that would have taken you 3.5, 4 years to put on the ground. We're producing Hanuman in the span of 9 months. We're producing Krishna in a span of a year. I think what's happened is what's technology. I won't get into the specifics of the technology. What has technology done is it's helped you crunch time and give more content, which is what consumers want. I don't think as an audience you're really interested in figuring out the how of something great. You want to see something great, right? I think, and that's what I want to give to the audience is that are you interested in knowing, what was the technology that went behind what you're seeing, or are you interested? It's like, if I'm wearing a T-shirt, I'm not interested in knowing which factory it's come from. I like the T-shirt, right? So for me, the ability to go to audiences faster, bigger, better, at a more viable commercial model is singularly the driving force of what technology has helped us exceed.
No, really cool. The rapid start, you've made a lot of PR and press around the world. What's next?
Convergence of content and commerce. Would love to have a conversation with your team about how does all of this look in a game. Yeah. Why not? Right. The best action games have come from are very, very purely deep-seated in a lot of history and myth and folklore. I'm wearing a T-shirt that's a product of a project of AI creativity that we did. So I think I keep asking myself, why hasn't India been able to produce a Marvel? Why hasn't India been able to produce a Disney? Why doesn't my 12-year-old daughter have the option of walking into a store and shopping and buying a pillow from a blanket of our heritage, a Hastinapur blanket maybe. I'm just riffing ideas here. So I think converging, the way we see it is the content is the biggest marketing vehicle for a world and ecosystem, right? And I want to ensure that ecosystem is available in retail, that ecosystem is available in all formats of the screen, theatrical, mobile, and television. It's experience and experiences. One of our best experiences of creating Mahabharat was we have gone to about 77 schools and about 90 villages across the country and showcased Mahabharat. The children have been so engaged with it. They've asked questions. One of them actually turned around and asked, how much power did you consume by making this? It's amazing what a 9th standard kid asks you these days. They actually got into the story of although Mahabharat is a bit debaucherous to show to school kids beyond a particular point in time. But, we've had great experiences through it. So how do you converge multimodal media formats to a consumer? So if you're one person, can I introduce you to a world of which content is just a slice of a pizza but not the entire pizza? That's what's next. May not be Microsoft related completely, but that's where we should go. The enablement of that, which is nothing but the underlying tech layer, is something a lot more easily explored. The format of what we're building has been built before. K-pop was built in Korea. Hollywood's built it historically with Disney. It's nothing new, right? We're not trying to invent anything. We're just innovating from our market what we can export. I think Indian culture is vastly exportable. So when we make Krishna, one of the insights that we have on Krishna is it's probably one of the biggest global communities of a god. Probably after Jesus Christ, right? Because you have lots of global citizens following and worshipping the ISKCON, the Krishna philosophy, the classic Hare Rama, Hare Krishna philosophy. So I feel the content itself is exportable, but what's more exciting for me is the technology that we built with you guys. I think that's also exportable to every and all markets.
As well from, essentially being a startup, right, in this country. Can you share a little bit with the audience around your approach on how you built this business?
Time is not my friend. That's my number one approach. So I'm very happy to fail fast. I'm extremely happy to do tomorrow's job today, because I feel when you're not in invention mode and you're in innovation mode, the thought is not unique, the execution is, right? We're creating Marvel for India. There's no unique thought. I'm pretty sure there are 500 people who are thought of creating. What makes it work is the execution. When you saw episode 1 of Mahabharat, was it all the way there? Maybe, maybe not. But I mean, 70% good is great, right? If you're starting, you don't need to get it right all the time. But what you do need to do is you need to keep doing. Because as you keep doing, you'll learn more, you'll fail fast, you'll figure out what you can do. So I think my biggest thing is I've tried to always compress time. Be a little bit of an unrealist in that scheme of things. And I think in that conversation, you land up building teams which feel like they're in the middle of a toothpaste squeeze every single day. But I think that's the juggernaut that you want to build. I think if you're in day zero more often than not, even though this is my 20th year in the business, but I do feel that I'm on day zero every single day, and I don't think there's a better learning.
And the ecosystem around what you've built, right? So I think one of the things I recognize in terms of talking to you today is that you're a huge advocate of ecosystem around what you're building. Can you share a little bit with the audience around your thought process here?
Yeah, look, I think so. I mean, the best way to do this is via a case study, right? Otherwise, plans and AOPs are great on a spreadsheet by Microsoft. But it's simple. Look, let's take it on a case study. Make probably what is definitely India's first, but in a lot of parts of the world, I think the world's first theatrical film enabled by AI. Let's take that as an example. About a couple of years back, I acquired a youth community called Under 25. We house about 1,300 campuses within the company, where we have access to over 10 million students. And we also do a lot of work, what you just earlier pointed out, with brands, advertising, and all of that. So I think where I am at the center of it is there's got to be a way of shopping what you're seeing, of communicating and educating the audience to what they are seeing, and finding a way of building repeatability in that, and that's how I think you build sort of an infinite loop, right? Because today it's Hanuman, tomorrow it's Krishna, day after it's a love story, the day after it could be anything else, right? But I think the ecosystem has to cater to more than just one stream. And I think that's where you're building more a network, hence the name Collective Artists Network and not Collective Artists. I very, very clearly wanted the word network and collective there, because at any points in time, and I have this practice in my office, that don't ever show me a flow chart that goes like this. Always put it in the construct of a circle. Because if you put it in the construct of a wheel, everyone knows what the other side of the wheel is doing, right? So can you be the biggest marketing agency for your own piece of content? Can you be the biggest licensing partner for your own piece of content? Can you become the biggest advertising partner for your own piece of content? And can you drive actual eyeballs and footfalls from your own ecosystem to your content, right? If you have those pieces sorted, that's pretty much the three pillars of content creation: creating, curating, and distribution, right? You find the holy trinity there in your home. So I think for me the ecosystem is very clear. You have to shop for what you're seeing. You have to probably eat while you're seeing it, and you have to probably just watch it over and over again in different shapes and forms. And that's what we're looking to do. Build repeatable.
One of the things that
Business would never have allowed you to produce a TV show at that scale. I really believe it's empowering, and I don't even think we looked under the hood yet. Right? I think we're all in baby steps in phase one of where the technology is at. It's getting better. We are seeing it firsthand between episode 1 and episode 10. The difference that already the advancement of technology and how much better it's getting with every single progress now with the feature films that we're doing. So yeah, as a creator, the advice would be embrace it.
no, I absolutely love that. I think what we see today is probably there's lots of conversation on frontier firms, where organisations and Europe are doing this. But I think
Come on. It's the one thing that is the most expensive. I don't think there's anything more expensive than our life than time. It can be a healer, it can be a destroyer. So I fundamentally believe that there's any technology that can enable us to bend time either to our favor, or then that's technology that's industry agnostic that can be used across the board. It can go as wide as finding a cure for a disease. It can go as wide as having a little boy, probably in the corner of Bihar with a with a little script that he may want to see come to life as a vision. It could be a musician who may not have the money to go rent out a music studio and wanting to create a piece of music. It could be a researcher trying to, who's fighting against time, trying to put out a research paper slightly faster. So I have a very different point of view. I think in every industry adopts to time. Time saved is life saved. Time earned is life earned. Money is part of the byproduct of that. So I think industry agnostic is anything that can condense time. I think that's a friend. If there's anything that $100 million, which is what it would cost you could make it, right? I also come from a point of view that a lot of the great stories in underpenetrated media markets such as ours. How do you tell a big story? Like, can you tell? How do I say Hanuman's story? Like how DC would say Superman's story, right? Or Marvel would talk about an Avengers story. Do I have the resources that Disney Global and Marvel have the answers? No. I don't think India has those resources. And the film market is that condensed. With 10,000 screens that we have available to us and our penetration for making those larger than life films, then is limited. I believe for us it's very, very critical. If I can show a world which is at par with the best worlds that you've seen, if you watch Mahabharat and you imagine seeing Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, you have to come from a place where you're very culturally aware to begin. If you treat it like an eternal capitalist, the chances of you failing are very high. Culture cannot be bought, culture has to be bought. So when we talk about Lord Hanuman, we speak about it with a lot of divinity. Our tenets are don't ever disturb the Holy Grail. Right? If there's something about the culture that's been followed for millions of years, there's a reason why it's been followed for millions of years. We're a country which is very proud of our culture.